Hi friends, Miss Connie here. And on Tuesday, I told you that today we would make something out of potatoes because potatoes are one of the crops that are grown in the UP. So today, with the help of my husband and our granddaughter, we are going to be making Upper Peninsula Pasties. Okay, my friends, the first thing we're going to make for our pasties, is the crust. Now you can follow the recipe that's posted here, but I have a little trick for my crust. It's a recipe that was given to me by two good friends I started teaching with 30 some years ago, Denise Koppelberger and Nancy Arnst, and it's called Easy Pie Crust. And to make this pie crust, you're going to need a bowl with a good tight lid. As you see, I have two out because we're going to make a double batch. You need shortening, all-purpose flour, and salt. Now, my family uses Himalaya pink salt. It's just healthier, and it was recommended by our doctors. So we use that. Salty flavor, but less sodium, and has a lot of other good minerals for you. And then you're going to need some type of liquid. Now I say some kind of liquid. For this recipe, I'm going to use water, but you could use pop, you can use milk. It really depends on what you're making the crust for. Okay, to make the easy pie crust, first you take 2 cups of all-purpose flour and dump into your bowl. You take 3/4 of a cup of shortening and dump in the bowl. A teaspoon of salt. And then your 7 tablespoons of liquid. It's not measured. So we're going to help Mr. Tish count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
and
7. Now you put your lid on tight. And this is the fun part. You're going to shake it. And you're going to shake it until it forms into a ball. Even our granddaughter gets to help shake. You're going to shake for 2 to 5 minutes.
It's getting close.
It will form into a ball all by itself. No need to stir it or nothing. Just keep shaking. When you get done shaking, your dough will form a ball and it's ready to use. You can hear the difference in the thump. I don't know if I can do this one-handed. And in the feel as you are shaking it. Just give the process a chance to work and keep shaking. Now that we have our pie crust made, I stuck them in the refrigerator. It just helped make it easier to roll out when we get the filling done. So for the filling, you need 6 is what the recipe calls for, medium-sized potatoes. So you see I have a few more because those are small. These, whoops, right there, is a rutabaga. You need 2 medium rutabagas, 2 medium onions, a pound of ground beef, a 1/2 pound of ground pork. I'm going to use mild sausage in mine. You're going to need some garlic powder, a 1/4 cup of margarine or butter, some salt and pepper. Now we're going to wash, peel, and chop all of our vegetables. And we also like carrots, so even though the recipe doesn't call for carrots, we're going to chop up some carrots. In this bowl we have our ground pork and hamburger mixed together and crumbled apart. On this tray we have our onion and our potatoes diced. And over here in the other part of the kitchen, Mr. T is finishing dicing up the rutabagas. And again, you want to do these cuts 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch so that when you bake them, they bake all the way through. Then I'll show you, there's the bowl of rutabaga. And as I stated before, we like carrots in ours, so there is some chopped up carrots. Okay, in the large mixing bowl with our pork and hamburger mixture, he's going to add our chopped up rutabagas, our potatoes and onions. And you want to make sure you have a large bowl because you can see this makes a lot. Our carrots. Then he's going to add the salt. Left. 3 teaspoons salt. 2 teaspoons black pepper. And 2 teaspoons garlic powder. Now he's going to mix that all together. You want to make sure you get it well mixed up. Now at the beginning of this film I told you that our family uses sausage. Just adds a little more zest to it, makes the meat a little stickier, so it's another reason why we mix it by hand, and we put gloves on and then mix it up. That way we can make sure it's well mixed together. The seasonings get all the way through it and all the vegetables. Now it's time for us to make the actual pasties themselves. So before I get my dough out of the refrigerator, I'm going to set my oven at bake at 350 degrees and pre-warm it. While it's warming up, I'm getting out my cookie sheet. The recipe suggests you do it ungreased cookie sheets. I've got my filling divided up into 12 balls. The recipe says 1 to 1.5 cups filling. We just divided it into 12 equal parts. And now I'm getting ready to make my round circles of dough. Since we made 2 bowls of pie crust, I need to divide my pie crust 6 in each bowl. So there are 6 even balls of crust. Now, Earl's going to take just one of them and roll it out into about an 8-inch circle. So he puts flour on the surface to keep it from sticking. And now he's going to rub our rolling pin with flour. So it doesn't stick, and he's going to roll it out. Sometimes this can be a frustrating experience.
Sometimes you need to sprinkle a little flour on your dough also.
But you also have to be careful not to get too much flour because that will change the taste of the dough. So once he gets his 8-inch circle, which that's just my oven saying it's warm enough, it's ready, he's going to put a sticking to your counter even with the flour. Then you can get out some wax paper or parchment paper, put that down on the counter, and then again add a little bit of flour to it, flour on your rolling pin, and then roll it out. Here's circle, whoops,
Or
try
somewhat
again.
circle.
When you get your circle or something similar to a circle, then you're going to take, remember your filling, 1 to 1.5 cups, put it towards one end of it. Then you're going to fold, oops, I'm sorry, I forgot. You're going to put a teaspoon, we slit some butter, or margarine in our case, because I can't have milk. You're going to take a slice of butter, put in the center. Then you're going to wet the edge of your dough just a little bit, so he's just dipping his finger in. It just helps it stick together all the way around. Then he's going to fold the dough over. And then I don't think our dough is going to be quite big enough. Right, so we found that our crust wasn't big enough. You know, recipes are great, but they're not always exact when you actually do it. So we combined 2 of our balls of dough, and we can always make more pie crust. And he is rolling it back out. And we're just going to make it as big as we can without making it too thin. Just make them help. Now he's putting it back on there. He's going to wet it around. And it is supposed to be a tight fit because all that will shrink up a little bit as it cooks. And you can see it takes a little practice. No one said this was an easy recipe. Of course, the people in the UP make it look easy, but you can even patch little holes. That's what he just did. There's nothing wrong with that. You're going to cut little slits in it when you cook it anyways for steam. And now he's going to go all the way around. If you want it to be real perfect and fancy, you can use a pie pan, and lay it on your dough and then cut away the excess. And I guess if you were having company or you wanted to look extra special, that would be a reason to do that. I'm not quite that fancy, and I mean, I want it to look appetizing, but I don't care if it's perfect. You put the meat on again. A slice of butter. I'll give you a hint with that butter. Make sure it's good and cold. Take the wrapper off before you slice it. Dab a little moisture around the outside. Again, you don't want a lot of water. I'm just going to use the parchment paper to help fold it this time. There you go. Smush it over. And then you're going to take your fork and press down on the edges, and that seals it. There. Now that's a beautiful pasta. And then you can use the fork or a knife to cut some slips in the top. Okay, the recipe makes 12, but because we want to try these for supper, I'm only going to bake 4 now, and we're going to make up the rest and bake them later. So they're going in the oven now at 350 for 1 hour. As you can see, they make really nice size pasties. And we're going to check what the ones in the oven look like. Now, the recipe, hold on a little. The recipe suggests that you put egg wash or butter on top before you bake them, and that will make them brown a little bit better. Oh, they're pretty looking. All right, here is our first pan of 4 pasties ready for us to eat. And here is a pan of 8 that's going in the oven. Only these, we're going to beat up a couple of eggs and spread it on there so they'll be a little bit golden brown, more so than what these are. And when I took it out of the oven, I had a little nibble. These are really good. And he's putting just so we got a cooking brush, dip it in the egg, and then just wipe it across all the and then they'll be ready to go in the oven. All right, my friends, here is the last 8 pasties fresh out of the oven. You see that coating of eggs really does make them turn a nice, pretty golden brown. Let me show you what's left of the original 4. That's it. My entire family scarfed them down. Actually, this is a recipe that we've never tried before, but this family will be using many, many times to come. These were really good. So, your assignment, friends, is to either make this recipe, show us your own version of a Upper Peninsula pasty, or try to find some. They do sell them in stores, and try one. Show a picture of you making one, eating one. Write how you liked it. Is it something you would like again? What would you like to put in yours? Can't wait to see what you think of the Upper Peninsula pasties.